How's it going, everyone? Mike here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, here to bring you the latest episode of our TD++ series, where we take a trial deck and fine-tune it with cards from the booster set to maximize its potential on a budget. Today we're going to take a look at Rurouni Kenshin, the latest release for English Weiss Schwarz. If you want to see a quick rundown of all the cards from the trial deck, check out the first section of our Kenshin product opening. In this video, I'll be first talking about some of the key cards from the trial deck that will form the backbone of our newly upgraded deck. Then I'll go through the cards we're adding from the booster set, and lastly, I'll go over how to play the deck and the game plan at each level. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's first take a look at the cover card of the trial deck, Rurouni Kenshin Himura. On play, you can discard a card to reveal the top card of the deck and salvage a character equal to or lower than the revealed card's level. This effect offers many advantages. Besides being able to filter out unwanted cards from hand in exchange for something useful in the waiting room, you also gain top deck information that helps you make more informed decisions that turn. Kenshin also gains 1500 power on play for the turn, putting him at a respectable 2000 power so he can sometimes contest other utility level zeros. Next, we have Kamiya Kashinryu Acting Master Kaoru Kamiya. She attacks for up to 7000 power as long as you have a full board, and also boasts a useful ability when she herself is reversed. You can look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Climax amongst them, add it to hand, and discard 1 if you did choose to add a Climax. This effect can be used to costlessly mill up to 3 cards if you just need some extra deck speed in the pinch, but is primarily an avenue to increase the odds of getting a Climax to hand, which can be the difference between a productive or a lackluster next turn. When opening your trial deck, look for this Kaoru and the previous Kenshin to be your possible SP stamped cards. It just might be your lucky day. There's a couple more notable cards to cover before moving on to our Climax combos, the first of which is Pride as a Samurai Descendant Yahiko Myojin. During the turn this card is placed from hand, on attack you can pay 1 stock and discard 2 cards to search the deck for 2 characters to add to hand. Yahiko is a 1-card solution to getting your hand ready for the subsequent turn, and is a very welcome inclusion in this trial deck. Here's a useful tip when using this card. If there is a specific one-off character you need from your deck, I would recommend attacking and using Yahiko's effect on your first attack to make sure you don't trigger that important character. However, if there are multiple good search targets left in your deck, consider attacking with him on the second or third swing instead. If you trigger a Climax on a previous attack, Yahiko can then pay it out immediately, and thinning your deck through Yahiko's effect later rather than sooner decreases the odds of triggering a Climax in the first place. After all, the more Climaxes left in the deck to cancel with on your opponent's turn, the better. The last notable card we're going to talk about before we go to the deck's Climax combos is Resolute Decision Sonoske Sagara. On play, you can activate one of 2 different effects. You can either heal 1, or your opponent chooses a Climax in their waiting room, and every other card in their waiting room is shuffled back into their deck. This second effect acts as what we call a decompression tool. The term compression is the concept of having as many Climaxes in the deck compared to non-Climax cards, so as to increase the odds of canceling attacks. Decompression, therefore, is the act of making a deck have as many characters and events as possible compared to Climaxes to increase the odds of damage sticking, something which Sonoske does very well. Finally, let's move on to the actual Climax combos. Like many modern trial decks, Rurouni Kenshin is blessed to come with 2 Climax combos, an Advantage combo at level 1 and a Finisher combo at level 3. Let's first take a look at our level 1 Advantage combo, Zanza Sonoske Sagara. His first ability puts him at 7000 power on attack, and if he's in the middle position of the center stage, he'll also gain Hand Encore until the end of the opponent's next turn. His Climax combo with this Stock Soul Climax activates on reverse of the battle opponent, where he mills the top card of your deck twice, and every time he mills a character, it goes to your hand. While this can miss on Climaxes and events, and does not offer much in the way of selective advantage, the potential of plussing 2 cards on 1 combo is still a very attractive proposition. Our level 3 Climax combo is Batto Jutsu Stance Kenshin Himura, which pairs with the Door Climax. On play, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose any 1 card to add to hand without showing your opponent, and discard the rest. His Climax combo activates on attack. The cost is to pay 1 stock, discard 1 card, and then reveal from your hand a copy of the level 0 Kenshin filter we previously looked at. By doing so, look at the top card of the opponent's deck, leave it either on top or put it on the bottom of their deck, and then burn 2 damage. For minimal hand and stock commitment, Kenshin offers a fairly decent finishing option for the deck. He's kinda like the most reliable guy you know at work. Tell him about the task at hand, give him some resources to work with, and he'll consistently and reliably get the job done. His finishing potential increases further once we upgrade the trial deck with some of his friends, so let's see how the deck evolves from here. Here's the shopping list for our budget upgrade. If you only have 1 trial deck, then you'll still need some extra copies of several cards, which I've detailed on the bottom. You can disregard the bottom section if you already have 2 trial decks on hand. The rest of the singles are rares and below from the booster set. Now let's take a look at the upgraded deck and go over the modifications. Starting from the level 0 line, we're replacing the Sonoske beater in the trial deck with this Sonoske from the booster instead, which is comparatively a more preferred beater. Sonoske is one of the best opening plays the entire set has to offer, and as a rare, we're more than happy to put him in our deck. Next, we're including a copy of the Kenshin Climax Swapper. The deck wants to spam the Sonoske level 1 Stock Soul Climax combo every turn before level 3, so this Kenshin helps turn any door climaxes you draw into Stock Souls. The last booster card we're adding is this level 0 Aoshi. When this card is sent to the waiting room from stage, you can pay 1 stock and put the top card of the deck to clock to search the deck for 1 cost 0 or lower character whose level is equal to or lower than your current level, and put it on stage in any position rested. This effect is ideally activated on your opponent's turn, so that you can immediately stand and use the summoned character on the following turn. Attack with Aoshi and let your opponent reverse him on the follow-up to make best use of his summon effect. Aoshi and Yahiko Searcher from the trial deck are our 2 avenues to have a smooth transition from level 0 to level 1. The rest of the level 0 line are ratio adjustments for cards already present in the trial deck. Besides adding another copy of the level 0 Kenshin Salvager, level 0 Yahiko Searcher, and the level 0 Global 500 Assist Yahiko, we're keeping 1 copy of the Kenshin Draw Brainstorm. The Yahiko Assist can generate us some incidental stock, which is always welcome, and the Kenshin Brainstorm has a neat second effect to let us search our deck for a level 2 or higher character on demand. Now let's move on to the level 1 game, where we start with 4 copies of this Kaoru Brainstorm. Kaoru is a rather unconventional salvage brainstorm, as she rests any 2 characters instead of resting herself as part of the brainstorm cost. She also functions as a 7,000 power beater, so she can be a front row attacker while still being able to brainstorm by tapping 2 other characters in your back row. Alternatively, you can rest herself and another character in the back row if you want to keep her around for future turns. The other addition at level 1 is this Tsubame Searcher. Her first effect gives all of your other characters 1000 power during your turn. Her on-play effect ditches a card in hand to search your deck for a character who shares the same card name as one that's already on your stage to add to your hand. Generally speaking, you want to play a copy of your Sonoske combo and follow it up with Tsubame to search out another copy of the Sonoske combo. If you need some extra power that turn, you can even use Tsubame's effect to search for a second copy of herself, and then use that new Tsubame to search for a second copy of Sonoske. You'll end up with 2 Sonoske combos attacking for an unparalleled 9000 power at level 1. Next, let's check out the new level 2 game. While the trial deck comes with 4 copies of the 2-1 Yahiko beater, we're going to replace those with some utility cards instead. 2 copies of this Megumi support, and 2 copies of the Sonoske Yahiko bouncer. Megumi gives all characters in front of this card a constant 1500 power, and also has the very annoying on-play effect of replacing the top card of your opponent's stock with a card of your choosing from their waiting room, generally a Climax. This effect is particularly synergistic with the level 3 Sonoske Decompressor. Play Megumi first, followed by Sonoske to really mess up your opponent's deck compression, a devastating 1-2 punch to start an explosive final turn. Sonoske and Yahiko's on-play effect discards a card to salvage any character from the waiting room. Additionally, they can send themselves from stage to waiting room to bounce a character on your opponent's stage. It's never a bad idea to hold onto a copy of this card heading into the mid-game. They're a reactive card that can deal with problems presented by your opponent's board, such as anti-burn effects or just big sticky characters, and offers selective hand fix when necessary. The last new card of the deck, and the only new level 3 we're adding, is this Yahiko, which essentially acts as our level 2 beater of choice. He can be played at level 2 if you have 4 or more characters already on stage, and on play he draws up to 2 cards, discards 1 card, and Yahiko gains 3000 power for the turn, putting him up to 11,000 power. Finally, on attack you can discard 2 cards to burn 1 damage. With the influx of cards from Sonoske combo and the cantrip effect of level 3 Kenshin, don't be afraid to use this burn effect at level 2 to really put the pressure on your opponent. Now that we've gone over all the cards, let me take you through the gameplay pattern of the deck and what cards you should be prioritizing at each level. For the opening mulligan, you should be actively looking for a copy of either Sonoske Chaser or Aoshi Searcher to attack with on the first turn. You'll also want to keep a copy of Yahiko Searcher, as well as 1 Stock Soul Climax and up to 2 copies of the Sonoske combo. Highly consider mulliganing everything else, especially if you don't see a copy of level 0 Sonoske or Aoshi in your opening hand. If you open a hand with a Stock Soul Climax, 2 Sonoske combos, but no good level 0 openers, don't be afraid to mulligan away one of the 2 Sonoskes in search for a good level 0 to open the game with. At level 0, use Sonoske to contest your opponent's characters, while Aoshi and Yahiko are your secondary attackers that transition your hand into playable level 1s. With their search effects, look to construct a level 1 board with at least 2 Sonoske Climax combos, and a flexible third attacker with either the Kaoru Brainstorm or Kaoru Beater. Our back row should be a mixture of Yahiko level 0 support, level 1 Tsubame support, or the Kaoru Brainstorm if you don't need to attack with her that turn. This deck is designed to easily attack for 7500 to 9000 power on every lane at level 1, so there should be no issues getting reverses for Sonoske. Make sure to place 1 Sonoske in the middle position so that he gains hand encore and you can reuse him the following turn. At this point in the game, you should already be thinking about prepping your level 3 game. Start keeping most of the level 2s and 3s that come into your hand, and you should still have no problem fielding 3 decent attackers per turn with the help of Sonoske's hand encore. The level 2 game plan does not differ that much from level 1. You'll want to continuously push damage while gaining resources with Sonoske's Climax combo. Proactively use Yahiko level 3 at level 2 to help you find more Stock Soul Climaxes, contest the opponent's board, and consider applying even more pressure with its burn effect if the situation calls for it. Here's what you want to assemble by level 3. 3 copies of Kenshin, his Climax, 1 copy of the level 0 Kenshin Resonance target, 1 copy of level 3 Sonoske, and 1 copy of level 2 Megumi. While this seems like quite a high number of specific cards, you should have no issues assembling the majority of these pieces every game with mindful preparation in the mid-game, and Kenshin's on-play cantrip effect to grab the leftover pieces you need should help you get the job done. Here are the resource thresholds for various final turn configurations. You'll need 7 stock at the start of turn for triple Kenshin combo, and 4 hand going into attack phase consisting of the level 0 Kenshin to resonate with, and any 3 cards to discard for cost. If the situation calls for it, you'll need 3 extra stock to play the Megumi and Sonoske decompression package on top of that. Alternatively, if Megumi and Sonoske are high priority effects based on your opponent's waiting room, it is still only 7 stock to do that package plus double Kenshin combo. If you're 1 stock short on doing triple Kenshin, level 3 Yahiko is a fine third attacker with its burn 1 effect. If the pieces line up, you should have a high chance of obtaining victory by the end of these potent finisher turns. To wrap up, let's take a look at some double rares that you can consider adding to the deck if you have them on hand. First, the level 3 Megumi is an excellent early play healer, and can be slotted as a 2-off. Replace them with any of the following cards: Sonoske level 3, Yahiko level 3, Megumi level 2, or the Sonoske Yahiko level 2. Choose 1 copy from 2 of these selections to replace for the Megumi healers, but don't cut any of them completely, as they are powerful cards in their own right. Another card to consider is the Kenshin Double Rare Clock Searcher. Feel free to replace any copies you have with the Aoshi level 0 Searcher, as they share the same role. As presently constructed, these are the only 2 changes I would make without a complete overhaul of the concept. Weiss deck building is not a perfect science, so feel free to experiment with your own ideas and see if they work for you. And that does it for our Rurouni Kenshin TD++. I've built the deck to be all gas and no brakes, from a level 1 game that consistently attacks for very high power and generates a lot of resources, to a level 3 game that can disrupt your opponent's compression and deal lethal damage on the same turn. In fact, both the level 1 Sonoske and the level 3 Kenshin combos are respectable enough that they can form the backbone of fully constructed decks. Sonoske has his own dedicated 8 Stoxel build, and Kenshin is the finisher of choice for a constructed 8 door build, which will be our feature deck profile for the set, and the next video coming up on the channel. As always, if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. This has been Mike on the Tressa's Collectibles channel. I hope you guys have fun with this iteration of TD++, and I'll see you guys in the next one.